What's up guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I will be doing a Q&A. I took some questions on my YouTube and on my Instagram. I only had 4 people submit if I remember correctly, but I did get quite a few questions from a couple of them. So I will get right into answering, but before we get into it, can you please leave a like and subscribe and comment what else you would like to see and possibly some questions for a second Q&A. But let's get right into this. Our first question is from Terry JSA. He asked a question on Instagram. He said, what got you into comics? There's a few different things that got me into comics. It started probably, the first comics I got that I remember anyways, is I have some Green Lantern comics, as well as the omnibus I got. And that was when I first wanted to get into comics, but the only reason I wanted to was because of movies and video games that I had seen and shows I had seen. And I really liked Green Lantern, but he wasn't in much other than the movie we don't talk about. Specifically Hal Jordan was the Green Lantern I like, and he's not in as much stuff. So I wanted to read some comics to learn more about him. And through doing that, I got into comics. I had that, and then I got some Spider-Man ones for Christmas one year. And I didn't really read much. I have a Simon Baz comic. It's the origin of Simon Baz. And then I read some of the omnibus, but after that, I just stopped. And so I wasn't into comics for quite a while. I still watched MCU movies and stuff. I've liked superheroes for years, so I'd still do superhero stuff. I just never really cared about comics anymore. And then I started watching some more videos because I wanted comics again. I don't remember what sparked it, but I did end up getting Secret Origins from the New 52, and so I have both of the trades for that, and I've read those. And then after that, I didn't get much more comics until recently. I was watching YouTube videos for years I've watched YouTube videos of like finding good places to start with different characters, and that's how I found Jeff Johns' Green Lantern for Hal Jordan. But recently in the last year was when I really got into it, and Speed Sultan's videos were probably the ones that stuck out to me the most, or I enjoyed the most. And so that kind of got me into reading comics again, and really getting into it. And so now I go at least once a month to my comic shop, and I'll pick up trades and stuff in my pull list and then go through back issues. So that's what really started it, was multiple different things. I've also gotten comics given to me, but when I really got into collecting, it was from watching YouTube videos and just going from there. Now let's get to the next question. Just give me a second. Alright, I'm back. Sorry, I forgot to charge my phone before recording. If you don't realize that I'm wearing the same shirt as in my room tour, I am recording on the same day, but I should have a video up before I post this one, unless I end up posting this Saturday. I'm not sure yet. But our next question is from the Nightmare Nerd, also asked on Instagram, and he said, what is something about collecting that I'm not a fan of? This one was a little difficult. I mean, there's some toxic stuff in the community of collecting, and so I thought about some of those things, but none of them really stuck out, because I'm like, there's not one thing that I'm like, oh, that annoys me a lot about how the fans can be or something like that. It's usually just a disagreement, and at the end of the day, you're just disagreeing. It doesn't matter that much. But what I ended up deciding on is probably price-wise collecting. It just makes it harder to collect, so I can't get as much stuff that I want. I mean, it might be a little greedy, but I do think prices are a little up there. I mean, obviously prices are going to go up through the years, but that's just the best thing I could think of, is prices for comics, for figures, whatever it may be. I think a lot of stuff is just higher priced than it should be. And then obviously with older comics, their prices, if they're like good comics or important comics, they're skyrocketing, and it's just like, yeah, I get why they're that much, but it's just something I don't like about collecting, because I can't collect the original ones I want unless I spend thousands of dollars. But I do understand why it is that way. Now, the next questions come from YouTube, and these were left by Cheese. There are a few of them from him, so I will get through those really quickly. The first one I have is, who are my favorite underrated hero or villain, is what he said. I will give you both a hero and a villain. I actually have two heroes. I put down Hal Jordan. I do think he's underrated. I think Green Lantern overall is a little more underrated, but Hal Jordan should be the main Green Lantern in my opinion. Whereas the other Green Lanterns seem to get the light shine on them more, and they add so many human Green Lanterns that it's hard to have one be the main, and I feel like that takes away from a lot of their characters. Personally, I think they've added too many. I think having Guy, Hal, Kyle, and John is enough for Green Lanterns. Human-wise, you have a bunch of aliens that you can use. I don't think they need to keep adding more, but that's just me personally. I like maybe a couple here and there, but if you're gonna follow them too much, I feel like it just gets to be too much, unless it's all in a, like they have the Green Lantern Corps book out right now. I haven't read it, but I think that's a good way to have a bunch of them together. But I still think the main Green Lantern run should probably be Hal, but I also am also a Hal fan, so if you don't want to count Hal, because he is pretty well known, I also said City Boy. City Boy is a comic that came out, I can't remember now, it was either 2022 or 2023, I believe. That was actually a comic that, I guess that helped me get into comics too. I read that one online. I think that was around the time I got Secret Origins. But I really liked that one. I started reading it, and then I went on a break, and then I went back to it. I really liked the story, I liked the character, and it was cool to have cameos from other characters in it. And I think that he could be used because he's attached to a lot of the other things, like the green, the red, and different things. I believe he's attached to the blue is what his is. I could be wrong on that. But I know that he had to do with that same kind of thing, and I think his power set was really unique, and that they could have done more with him. I do apologize if you hear my dog in the background. He's in my room this time. And then for the villain, I said Black Mask, who is one of my favorite villains in DC. I really like him because of the Batman animated show, not the animated series. The one from 2004, I believe, is when it first came out. I actually have it right here. This one, I love this show. It's one of my favorite superhero shows. And I really liked Black Mask in that. I thought he was pretty cool in Under the Red Hood, but I really enjoyed him in that Batman series. And so I think he's really underutilized and should be in more stuff. So that's who I had for those questions. Now for the next question by Cheese is, what is a popular comic that I think is overrated? I haven't read too many comics. Like I said, I just recently got into comics more so. And so the one that I had thought of is Absolute Martian Manhunter. I've read both the issues online. I have not gotten them yet. I'll probably get the trades because it's good enough that I'll read it and probably enjoy it. But I just think it's a little overrated. I think people, like, from the first issue especially, I feel like people were putting it above the ones that I prefer. Like I said before, I've only read Absolute Batman, Absolute Flash, and Absolute Martian Manhunter, and I thought Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 1 was the worst of those three, but a lot of people really like it. It's just not personally my style as much as it is others. But yeah, that was the only one I thought fit that. I just don't see it as highly as other people do. And then this one is out of Marvel, DC, and Indie, what is my go-to to read? I wasn't sure what my answer was on this. I had to think about it and go through what I've read. And it's DC. I've read the most of DC, but I've also known, I don't know, I feel like I know more characters in DC. I feel like Marvel, it's like there's a select few I know. But also with what's coming out now, I think DC has better stuff, and I'm mainly reading stuff now and then going back through a couple older things. But I think DC, comic-wise, has just been more consistent, and I like their main universe stuff, and then like the Absolute Universe, where Marvel, for current stuff coming out, I think the main things that I'm reading is Ultimate Universe, where their main universe stuff I just don't think is as good. Like Amazing Spider-Man hasn't been good for a while, I know, and the new one, it's alright, it's just not my thing personally. Now, next question is, what is my dream crossover that has not happened yet? This one also took a bit of research because I couldn't think of stuff. I thought of Transformers and I'm like, what would I want it to collab with? And so I thought of Godzilla and Transformers, but it has been a comic crossover before, so I was not sure. And so I was looking around my room trying to think, and I saw my anime stuff and I was like, My Hero Academia, they haven't collabed with Marvel, and I think that would be really cool. Or DC, either would be cool, but I think personally, like Deku and Spider-Man crossover would be really cool and really fun to see. But just the My Hero universe and DC or Marvel universe would be a really cool crossover to see. Now, the next question is, who has the worst rogues gallery? Another tough question. I do not have a great answer. Like I've said, I haven't read as much or seen as much. So I just went off of stuff I have seen and know a little bit about, without choosing like a super obscure character. I think for mainstream characters, Iron Man has a pretty bad rogues gallery. He has some good ones. It depends on the version too. Like Justin Hammer's cool, but I feel like a lot of his villains have the same archetype. Like there's a lot of tech-based guys because it kind of feels like there's just a lot of evil Tony Starks, which kind of gets old really quick. But that's just from stuff I've seen. And then you have the Mandarin, which in stuff I have seen other than the MCU, because in the MCU we don't talk about the Mandarin. Outside of MCU stuff I've seen, like Armored Adventures, I remember seeing that as a kid, and Mandarin was one of the coolest villains I've seen in that specifically. But as a rogues gallery as a whole, I feel like his villains are just kind of mediocre. Now, the next and final question from Cheese, before I get to the last person that asked questions, is what is the most overhyped comic book movie? Now, for me, the one that came to mind instantly was Batman vs. Superman. I don't think anymore it has the hype that it did, but I still think it's decently popular, and it does have some fans because there's a lot of people hating on the new Superman trailer and just stuff about the new Superman, so there's obviously some Zack Snyder truthers, but I hated the movie. I tried to watch it with my mom, and we both fell asleep multiple times during the movie. It was just very boring. I hated Ben Affleck's Batman, and I don't blame him for it as much. I think it was obviously Zack Snyder's fault. I think he just had a horrible vision for what DC should have been. And so I hated that movie with a passion, and I don't plan to ever actually try to watch the full thing, especially now that it really doesn't matter at all. Now, the last person that asked questions was Mo Malco. And he asked them on YouTube as well. The first question he asked was Spider-Man or Batman. For this, that was very easy for me. The answer is Spider-Man. He is probably still my favorite superhero. He has been for years, but now that I'm getting more into stuff, there are different characters that I've been enjoying more, and they have more stuff that I haven't seen, so I have more to experience with them. But I still think Spider-Man's my favorite. It's very basic, but he's been my favorite since I was a kid. So that's my answer. I do really like Batman. It's nothing against Batman. It's just he's never been my favorite the same way Spider-Man has. Now the next question is, what are my top 5 Spidey covers that I want to get? Not all of these are going to be ones I would get or can get unless it's a facsimile. I don't know what they have for all of these. I had to go through quite a few covers and try to see ones that I thought were interesting. Excuse me. I will put the pictures up probably like right here of which one when I say it. The first one I want is Amazing Spider-Man issue 33, and that's the one where he is under all the rubble, as you'll be able to see here. I think that one was really cool, going through the older ones. Then there is Amazing Spider-Man 300, Todd McFarlane. I love how he draws Spider-Man. I love the big eyes, and this is a very iconic cover. And then last Amazing Spider-Man one is Amazing Spider-Man 316, which has Venom and Spider-Man, also by Todd McFarlane. I love his stuff, so I think that him drawing Venom and Spider-Man looks really cool. And then Spider-Man #1, also drawn by Todd McFarlane. You'll see a pattern there. 3 of the 5 are by Todd McFarlane. Again, I love his art, and this is a very iconic cover as well. The rug that I got in my room, the X-Men one, I did debate getting the Spider-Man #1 version of it instead, but I am glad I got the X-Men one. I think it's a little less common to see. And the final one for that is Spider-Man Unlimited #7. I really love Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider. I don't know much about the character, but like design-wise, I love how it looks. I'd love to have that one. I like the split between him and then Peter Parker's Spider-Man. I didn't think about this until later, but there's another cover. I didn't like find one exactly, but there could be another one that has another version of Spider-Man that you'll get to know who it is later if you listen to the final question, because it has to do with that. I just don't want to spoil it yet. But the next question is, how did I first discover Nightwing? I was gonna say, I don't remember what I was gonna say, but I had some like idea of how I first discovered Nightwing, and then I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, no, I remember exactly how I first discovered Nightwing. It was years ago. I was a little kid playing Lego Batman on the Wii. I can't remember which one it was that he first appeared in, but I had Nightwing, and I did not know who Nightwing was. And because of how his hair was in it, because it was like super long, but it was spiky, I thought it was like an emo girl, honestly. So I did not know Nightwing was Robin. I believe my thought process was that it was Robin's girlfriend. I'm pretty sure that's what I thought it was. So my first introduction to Nightwing, which is not at all why I like Nightwing, was because of Lego Batman, and I thought Nightwing was a girl. So interesting. I am glad I remembered that because I think it's pretty funny. Now for the final question, is my favorite comic costume. I could not think of a single answer. Like, I had a couple that went through my mind, and these were the 3 that first came to my mind, and that was Wally West's rebirth costume. His Flash rebirth costume, I believe, is what it is. That's what it was when I searched it up. I'm pretty sure it's the rebirth one. I'll have pictures of all the costumes up here. I'll also probably put up a picture of Nightwing, which you will have seen at Nightwing in the Lego game, so I can see how off I was when I was younger. But anyways, I really liked that one. It's the one where his hair is showing out the top. It's like his Kid Flash uniform or suit, but red. It's a very commonly seen one. I just really like how it looks. It came to my mind instantly. Then Nightwing. I like most of his blue costumes. I do like Nightwing in Young Justice. I don't like his suit in that as much. I think it was kind of weird. I don't like the small bird. My favorite one that can think of is the one drawn by Bruno Redondo in Tom Taylor's run. I like the way they redesigned it. I like the blue going all the way down his sleeves and onto his hands. I like the bigger Nightwing logo. I just think that one was done really well. I don't like the ones that are super armory looking, and I don't like the red that much. Some of the red looked okay, but I'm not a huge fan of it. And then the last one I thought of was, which I brought up earlier, Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider. And right before I was going to record this, I remembered I know exactly which one is my favorite. My favorite comic book costume is Future Foundation Spider-Man, which will also be up here. And that is what I would want to try to see if there's a cool cover with Future Foundation Spider-Man on it, because it is my favorite suit. I have drawn it before. It wasn't a great drawing, but I'll actually see if I can find it really quick so I can show you. But I do love the Future Foundation uniform, so I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So I did find it. This is the drawing I did. I took a pose reference of someone with, I think it was 2 swords, and then I turned them into webs and had him go back behind his hand instead of just in front. It's not a great drawing. I did this years ago, but I do love the suit. But yeah, that should do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, please do like and subscribe, and comment what else you would like to see, as well as questions that you would have for my next Q&A. But that will do it, and remember, I love you, Jesus loved you, and God bless.